Alright, welcome everyone. So in this video, you'll learn how to land your first B2B freelance writing client this very week. And yes, it is possible. Before you do so, you will have a few prerequisites. You need an optimized LinkedIn profile. This is where you announce what you do. So in your LinkedIn title, you mention that you are a B2B freelance writer in a specific niche. You need a website or a Facebook page which shows your services. Basically, you need a landing page. And the reason for that is to look more professional. So you have a link attached to your outreach where you can send the potential client. It simply looks more professional. I started out with a Facebook page, which is completely free to create, and I made it look very professional with a profile picture and the cover photo and different posts. It looked very professional, and I would link that when reaching out to clients. And the third one is a professional email address with a custom domain. You can get one at GoDaddy, and there are many other providers. You can get it for very cheap. I want to note again, I didn't do that because I didn't want to spend on that in the very beginning. So I used Gmail and I still got a client. However, looking as professional as possible and uh, announcing your services through your LinkedIn and your website, they really help and increase the chances of actually landing a client. And it will take you around 3 to 4 hours max to get this done. So get it done, and then you can get a client this very week within 7 days. All right, so the 4 pillars of getting leads. What is a lead? A lead is someone you can contact, and I've learned about leads from Alex Hormozi's book, 100 Million Leads. He speaks of the 4 main ways to get customers or leads. These are warm outreach, so you reach out to people you know, content creation, cold outreach, you reach out to strangers, and paid ads. So, how do these 4 main ways of getting leads, which is applicable to any industry, there's at least one of them or more is going to work for your business, and all 4 of them can work to get B2B freelance writing clients, but 2 of them are very effective and the other 2 not so much. So let's see how they qualify for B2B freelance writing. Warm outreach, it depends. It depends on your network. I didn't have a network of people who knew owners or marketing managers of B2B companies in the CRM space, which was my niche. I do not have that sort of network. So that one was out for me. And paid ads seems to work better for agencies. So if you've scaled into a marketing agency, then you're running paid ads. That seems to work better. But for an individual business, which is what we're learning how to start yourself right now, running a paid ad might not be the best way, and it could be quite costly before you learn the proper hook or a technique or specific ad which grabs your audience and gets them to convert. It's a very costly way to learn, which leaves us with content creation and cold outreach. And yes, these are our 2 most effective methods. So you can do number 2, content creation, and number 3 simultaneously, but you're going to have to start with number 3, which is cold outreach. So the 2 most effective methods have a core principle. It's lead with value. We are not going to pitch our services right away. That's not going to happen. We will lead with value and the pitch will come after. So forget reaching out to people and offering your services right away. It simply looks like spam. It's not going to work. It's what everyone is doing. So we will lead with value. And remember that you only need 3 to 4 clients to hit 12K per month. So these 2 methods increase your chances, and you simply need 3 or 4 clients from these 2 methods and you are set. So let's get you set. At least let's get you 1 client this week. So method 1 is cold outreach. You will reach out to potential clients. So these are key people via LinkedIn or email, in this case specifically email, and you will be leading with value. As you said, you're not pitching your services right away. So an email outreach, typically you'll need to find their email. So there's Hunter.io, Rocket Reach, Get Email, and more. These are softwares where you can enter the name of the person and their company details, and you could find their emails. So once you have their emails, you write a personalized first line. So you mentioned something about the company or the person you're contacting. You don't want it to seem like you've copy pasted that email to 100 other companies. That's not going to work. So you have something personalized. So you will need to spend some time looking into the company you're reaching out to or the person you're reaching out to and find something personalized you can say. Then you're going to mention immediately what you do. So I'm a freelance writer in the B2B CRM space. You're going to make an offer. For example, you could say, since that specific company talked about incorporating AI in their CRM, I decided to draft an article titled Why You Need an AI-Powered CRM. So I am making an offer that is very specific to that company. They've been talking about incorporating AI. This is something I found, let's say, by researching, by reading what they've been sharing on LinkedIn or what's on their website. And I'm saying, hey, I have an offer for you. That's an article that is relevant to the things you've been talking about. In other words, you're showing that you can be of value to them. You're leading with value. You're leading with specific value to them. You state the benefit, number 5. It would educate your audience on the potential advantages of AI and increase user adaptation. Again, that shows that you are aware of what would benefit them, or at least you're trying to think of what would benefit them. And number 6 is you have a call to action. If that sounds like something this company name might find useful, hit reply and I'll send it over. Also worth mentioning, I didn't type it here, but you make it clear that it's for free. You might not say it's for free. You could say it's at $0. That's my favorite way of saying it, or at no cost. Because saying for free could trigger the spam filter when you're sending out an email, because it sounds promotional, right? So you could say at no cost, or you could say at $0. So you make it clear that you're leading with value, that you're offering value, and you're not expecting anything in return. Now, you might be thinking, okay, if I'm going to contact 100 people over a week or 80 people, I'm not going to write 80 articles for each one of these companies. Of course you're not. What you're going to do, you're going to wait for those who reply, who are interested in your offer, and then you're like, okay, sure, I'll send it over. And then you go and draft it. And then you go and draft the article that you suggested. So you don't have to write an article for each and every person you email, simply because every person you email will not reply. There's a percentage who will reply, and these are the ones you will be writing the free article for. Okay, method number 2 now is LinkedIn farming. So you could think of cold outreach like hunting. You are going out and you're trying to grab strangers. That sounds wrong, but you're trying to get strangers to pay attention to what you have to say. LinkedIn farming is a little bit different. It still starts with strangers, but you're warming them up. You warm them up with your content. So remember that the main appeal of a B2B freelance writer, and we've talked about this, I think, in the first video, is industry expertise. It's not even writing skill, not that much. It's industry expertise, so your niche expertise. So you're going to show that through the post that you share on LinkedIn. So you could talk about current events surrounding your niche, how AI is affecting the niche. That's always a great topic, especially in B2B. Content writing advice. You're actually showing that you know your stuff when it comes to content writing. You could have a post about your best performing blog titles. Yes, you could do that even if you've never worked before. That's sort of saying that you are already a successful freelance B2B freelance writer. That's okay. You could share some blog post titles, some different titles, maybe that you've gathered in your learning about marketing, about blog post writing, and you could share that. You could share an interesting post from an industry leader. So I've shared HubSpot post because I wrote for the CRM niche, and HubSpot is a major leader in CRM. Or you could repost a post that you like. Again, it has to be relevant to the niche. Overall, you're going to show that you love the niche, you're passionate about the niche, and you are an expert in this niche. While you do that, you'll be sending connection requests to key people in your industry, so potential clients. So the message request could be something like, hey, name, I love your insights about, something they've posted, because that's on LinkedIn. They've probably posted something. So as a B2B freelance writer in that niche, thought we'd connect. Thought it'd be great to connect. You're just saying, look, you're in that niche. I appreciate you for being in that niche. I appreciate what you said about this and that. I'm also in that niche. I thought we'd connect. That makes sense. And best, and you give your name. Again, you're not pitching. You're starting a conversation. And while you're starting that conversation, or when they've connected to you, or before they decide to accept your connection request, they might take a look at your profile, and this is when the posts come into play. They'll be showing your industry expertise that might get them to actually accept your connection request, or when they've accepted your connection request, they'll be getting these notifications about your post and gradually warming them up, so that eventually when you do pitch them, it's not even cold outreach anymore. They've become a warm lead. And this is the greatest way to get a client, right? So that's why if you have someone in your network who's working for a B2B company which is in your niche, this is the easiest client you can get. So assuming you don't have that, then you can build that warm audience, and LinkedIn farming is the way to go. When do you pitch, right? So of course you want to get paid. You want to land them as a client. So for cold email, it's after they've replied. So they've replied and they've said, yeah, sure, send me the post. So you send them the post, and at that point you're already in a conversation. They're already warm, quite warm, and then you can pitch. You can say, hey, I do this. I'm looking for a client on a regular basis. And they will say, okay, sure, you come on board. Or they might reply and appreciate your offer and immediately ask you about your services. How does it look like? What are the rates? And so on. And you can reply. Sometimes it has happened to me. I've emailed someone offering a free article. I never even wrote the free article. They were just like, hey, thanks so much. That's really cool. Yeah, sure. What are your rates? We could get started. And we got started. That happens. For LinkedIn connection request, remember that once they accept it, there's a conversation tab. So there's a chat that opens up in your messaging on LinkedIn. Now you can contact them anytime. So what you can do, you can thank them for the request, maybe for the accepting of the request, and you can then maybe wait 1 or 2 days so you don't seem pushy, and then you can propose the free article like in the cold email. And once they've accepted, so same process as cold email. Once they've accepted, then you can proceed to pitch. And that's it. So these are the 2 most effective methods you can use today and land your client within 7 or 8 days. You start with cold outreach, of course, because LinkedIn farming, it is reliant on time. There's an accumulation of your goodwill that comes from the post, showing your industry expertise, and also the connections that you're building. So connection requests that you're sending out, and connections that you're building, that takes some time, but it can happen within a week. It has happened within a week for me. It can happen within a week. However, the most direct way to get a client will be cold outreach. This is hunting. You go out and you shoot and you can get a client. Remember, lead with value and you'll be good to go. Thank you. That'd be all for this video.